Hi guys, welcome back to Fiat in English. As my promise before, that I will share to you about my final examination condition inside the room when I do the final examination with all of my examiners of English study program. I was asked to come into the room at the very first time by Ma'am Erika, and I was just be given for about 5 minutes time for doing my presentation, and I may not look at any slides or any clues about my presentation of my final examination. So I just explained by myself about the 4th chapter of my thesis program, and well, I thought that I did it well because after I tell about the presentation, after I explained to them about my 4th chapter of thesis, and the question and answer session was held. The examination was led by Mr. Imran Wahid Haris PhD, and the first examiner who asked me in the question and answer session was Professor Suryo. He gave me some advices about my thesis, about the 4th chapter exactly, so he advised me to do some revise for my 4th chapter and make it switch with my question in the 1st chapter. More than that, he just tell me about the goodness of my thesis and also which one the part that I shouldn't put inside it. The next examiners who gave me advices is Mr. Imran Wahid Haris. He didn't say anything a lot, but he just said that everything was good and I can do my presentation very well, and well, he has no question for me. And the last one is for my beloved advisor, Ma'am Erika. She asked me about where will I continue my future, or where will I get my job next, what is my plan for my next time, and so on and so forth. But she also gave me some advices that I have to always be honest and also be focused in doing something that I want to get in my future. Besides that, I'm very glad that there is no any difficult question, so I can pass the examination very well. And you know guys, it was so surprised me when the leader of examination told me that I passed the examination. Can you imagine? I was so happy because finally after 4 years I study in that university, I finally graduate. For about 1 or 2 weeks after my examination, I got my final score, and surprisingly it blew my mind that I finally got A. My dream to get A score in my thesis because it will give any advantages when I want to get job later on. And also I have tips for you guys. If you want to get A score in your thesis, the first thing that you have to do before you write your thesis is by reading a lot of kinds of books. That's what Ma'am Erika as my advisor always asks me to do before I write my thesis. Why we need to do so? Because when we have already known many kinds of things about the theory or the data that we will write in our thesis, then it will be better for us and it will be easier for us to get the ideas and also the conclusion of the research that we have to write inside our study. The next one is always keep focused, never procrastinating in doing something. Once you feel lazy, once you procrastinate your work, then it will never be done. Trust me, because I have already proved it. So I start to write my thesis in October, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, and I get my proposal seminar in December. But then I feel a little bit lazy. Not lazy actually, because I have another project to do. But because of that procrastinating in doing another projects rather than my thesis, then the laziness comes slowly into my soul. And finally, I procrastinate to do my 4th and 5th chapter for about 4 months, and I just did it on May, and I got my final examination on the 1st of July. And well, after all along that process, I finally graduated from University of Trunojoyo, Madura. The next tips is always ask to your advisor. Whatever difficulties that you feel, whatever the confuseness that you found when you read something, when you read the theory book or you read your data, ask to your advisor. Never be afraid to do so. Never be afraid that your advisor will revise your work, because without revising, it will never be perfect. So I used to it when my advisor always scratch on my work, but I didn't give up because I think that, well, this is for my best, and that's what will you have when you do your final thesis. When you get the scratch, it means your advisor wants you to be perfect more than before. When you get scratch, it means your work hasn't been perfect enough, then you have to go for it. When you get scratch, never cry. Why? Because your lecturers or your advisor trust that you can do it. And once you enjoy your revise, you will get the best results of your thesis. And you know, finally guys, the best thing ever after my final examination is my sister comes as a surprise with my parents, with my auntie, with my nephew, and she was strapping me with my best friends. Thank you so much, everyone. I love you. Thank you so much for always supporting me during I do my thesis. Yeah, that's the last tip. Find your mood booster when you do your thesis. And she's my mood booster. I love you.
I love you.
She's my mood booster. Every time I feel tired, every time I want to give up, every time I feel dizzy, confused, crying, upset because of the thesis, I always remember her face. I always remember.
I'm ugly, man.
I always remember her face because she is my motivation to be success. Because I, as her sister,
Oh, I look beautiful here.
if I cannot be success, then how can I be a good example for my sister, right? Yeah. Give me 5. Thank you, bro. Thank you, sis. Thank you. Okay, so that's all the story. Actually, that's not really a very interesting story, I think, but I hope it can be very benefit for you guys, especially for the tips in doing your final thesis. And I hope to all of my juniors in English study program, University of Trunojoyo Madura, you can do your thesis very well. You can graduate in a right time, in a perfect time. And once more, I want to remind you, never procrastinate in doing your thesis. Well, that's all from me. As usual, if you like the video, don't forget to give your like, share, and also subscribe. Karena subscribe itu apa, Din?
Gratis.
Gratis. So that's all. I'm Eka Fiatin from Fiatin English. See you.